All right, welcome to the first video in the Caster project tutorial. First thing you'll notice when I've got Fusion opened up is I've got the data panel over here on the left-hand side. You can either hide that data panel or show the data panel. I'm going to make sure that I'm in the correct folder for whatever class you're in, and make sure that this is where you're going to save it. I've got mine where I'm going to save mine right here. First thing you want to do when you first start out is just go ahead and save this. I've practiced a couple times. I've got the model done. I'm going to go ahead and call mine Caster Model B, just so it's got a different name. These were the originals I did, and I've been practicing the tutorial. So I'm going to go ahead and save that. It'll create an entry over here. You can see these first three entries in the data panel all have the solid cube as the icon. That means that those are models. This one's got a picture of a little mountain in the sun. That means that that is a rendering. Some kind of graphic item, and then this is a two-dimensional drawing. It's got a little trapezoid right there with the dimension tool on it, so that lets you know it's a drawing. So by looking in the data panel, you can kind of see what kind of file you're working with. So right now we're working with Caster Model B. This is the one that's open. Let me go ahead and minimize the data panel. This is the browser tree, this area right here. This will give us a kind of list of what's going on in our model. Down here we'll display the model timeline. Up here in the top right is our view cube. Starting out, I want to make sure that my units are set the proper way. So I'm going to come over here to Document Settings, come over here where it says Activate Units, and we're going to do this design in millimeters. So we'll go ahead and switch back and forth as needed, but this one's going to go ahead and be in millimeters. Want to make sure that we get plenty of saves. Had to have 6 saves for any assignment for the design den, so make sure that we do that. First thing we're going to do on this project, we're going to build the Caster project. So I've got all of the PDF files opened up here as well. This is going to model Caster for a swivel chair. And you can see we got everything highlighted with different colors. So this will be several different models, and then we're going to kind of assemble all those parts together. Okay. So first thing, when we've got multiple parts in a model, I'm going to come up here to my top level. I'm going to right click and say New Component. We're going to go ahead and leave all these the same. We're going to go ahead and give this the name of Plate. We'll hit OK. And you can see now that this dot over here, that this is the active component. And that this is a subset of Caster model. This is an individual part, and when you see the grouping, it's letting you know that there's multiple parts or an assembly. So we're going to go ahead, create a sketch plane. I can see in my view cube that this is the top surface. So I'm going to select this plane to begin my sketch on. I'm going to go back and look at my drawings. And the first thing we're going to start with is we're going to start with several of these circles right here. I've got an 18, the circle with a line through it means diameter. So I've got an 18 millimeter, a 36, and a 90. So I'm going to draw all 3 of those circles. I'll go up top here. I'm in the Sketch tab. Come over here where it says Create. Click on that black triangle. And on Circle, I've got several options. I'm going to go ahead and do this center diameter circle. To the right of it, you notice it's got the letter C, and that's the keyboard command. So I'm going to go ahead, and that'll snap to my origin. Left click once and drag it out. And I'm just going to go ahead and type in 18 and hit enter. And it goes ahead and gives me an 18 millimeter. I can come back up here and grab the center circle again, or I can just hit the letter C on my keyboard. Snap the center to the origin, come out to 36, and hit enter, and it'll put it to the correct size. I'm just going to click on those dimensions and drag them around so they're not in my way. My third circle is 90 millimeters, so once again hit the letter C, snap the center to the origin, come out here, and it's really hard to get the distance correct just by moving your mouse, so go ahead and type in 90 millimeters once again. So I've got all 3 of those circles. When we go back and look at our drawing, the next thing we see after those circles is I see these 4 circles in the corners. So this circle has got a 10 millimeter diameter, and it's 102 by 84. So to put this in the right spot, I'm going to go ahead and just draw a square, or draw a rectangle, and then I'm going to put those circles at the corners of those rectangles. So I'm going to come back to my drawing, come up here to create. I'm going to do a rectangle, and I'm going to do a center point rectangle. So first thing it asks me to do is place a center point. We'll do that at our origin. I'm just going to drag it out to the side, and I can see highlighted in blue in the bottom. I'm going to type in 102, hit the tab key, and then I'll type in 84 because those are the dimensions of my rectangle. Go ahead and hit enter. You can see that this is a solid line, and that solid line is going to chop up my circle into a whole bunch of parts. So I'm going to hold down, I'm going to select that and then hold down the shift key and select the other lines of that rectangle. And instead of those being normal lines, I'm going to come over here to my sketch palette. I'm going to turn those into construction lines. And instead of being solid lines, once I turn them into construction lines, now they're dashed. So they're there for reference, but they're no longer going to break up the profile of that circle. So I can hit the letter C on my keyboard for another center diameter circle. Gonna snap it right there to that corner, and I know that that is 10 millimeters. Now it is possible to just continue to put the circles on the corner, but we're going to use some more of the tools in Fusion. We're going to go ahead up here to the mirror command. This is going to allow us to select an object. This blue tells me that I'm selecting the object. And now I'm going to turn the mirror line. And I want this green line right here, but it's not a line in my drawing. So I'm going to have to come over here to my origin. And you can see the eyeball is turned off right now. I'm going to turn the eyeball on. And now it's going to give me a line. It should give me a line. And it's not. Okay. So let me hit cancel for a second. Turn the visibility on. And I should see my origin lines. And they're not there. Go ahead and change the view. Okay. So sorry, they're there. This is the Z-axis. There is the X-axis. And then it's being kind of difficult to not let me select the Y-axis. So if you left click and hold over an area, it'll select all the things in that region and let you select those. So it's there. They're just very kind of light and transparent and kind of hard to see. So I'm going to go back to my view cube, click on the top. Oops, and rotate it back around the way I want it. We're going to open up that mirror command again. I'm going to select my object, being this circle. And for my mirror line, I want this right here to be my mirror line. It's not showing up. Usually it'll select that Y-axis a lot easier. It's not being so nice. So I'm going to left click and hold. And when you left click and hold, it's going to bring up options of things you can select. And that Y-axis right there is what I want. And when I select that, it's going to take this circle and mirror it about that line. And that's what I wanted to do. So I'm going to hit OK. And same thing again, I'm going to hit the mirror command. And this time I'm going to select both of these circles. And for my mirror line, I'm going to use the X-axis. Once again, it's not popping up real easy, so I'm going to left click and hold. And it's going to bring up the options of what I can select. I'm going to hit the X command. And now I've mirrored both of those circles down there. And that's what I want to do. And if I were to change, if I double click on this and change this diameter to 12 and hit enter, then all the circles change to 12. We'll put that back to 10 like we need for our model. So now I've got those circles. So the next thing on our drawing is we kind of need to do this outside shape. And it tells me that it's got a 24 diameter radius to it right here. This is a 90.5 diameter, and these are just horizontal lines. So we're going to kind of piece all of these geometry sections together. So first thing I'm going to do, and I probably should have just went ahead and did it when I did the other one, is I'm going to go ahead and make this circle 24 in diameter. And I need to do the same thing. I need to mirror this all 4 places. So I should have done both of these at the same time, because now I'm going to have to go through this mirror command, grab the big circle, hold over here. Now it's got a line there. It's okay, we'll use it. I'm not sure where that purple line came from, but it's where I want it. Start the mirror command again. Grab both of the big circles. Grab that purple line. Oops. So it's got 3 selected. It's going to try to mirror that. I actually want that to be my mirror line, so I'm just going to hit that X command. It'll close out of those. Switch to the mirror line. I want that to be my mirror line, and now I've got the big circles. So now on top, I just have a straight line going across the top and bottom. So we'll add those in. Come up here to the line command. And it's going to snap to the circle. It's kind of hard to get it perfectly on top. So I'm just going to go ahead and miss kind of big. I'm not even going to get anywhere close to the top. I'm going to get on the inside. Left click to place the line. And it's going to snap to kind of horizontal. I want that for sure. And it's going to snap to the other circle. So that's my nice horizontal line. That symbol right there means horizontal. But I want this to be at the top of the circle. So these red icons are for your constraints. I'm going to hit the tangent constraint, and I want this line to be tangent to that circle. So it's going to apply the tangent constraint and move it so it's at the top of both circles. Hit the escape. And I can either mirror this line, or I can just draw it again. I think it's probably going to be easier to mirror it. The mirror line is this x-axis, so it's going to pop up down there. I'm going to say OK. I'm going to kind of move some of these dimensions out of my way. Your drawings can easily get cluttered, so it's nice to be able to kind of click and drag some of these dimensions out of the way where it's easier to see what's going on. The last thing I need is that arc right there. It's got a radius. This is a radius of 90.5. So that would be a diameter of 181. So we can either enter it as a radius or as a diameter. But this measurement, the R, is radius, circle with a line through its diameter. So we'll come back here. We're going to create an arc. We're going to use the 3-point arc tool. First thing it says is to put a start point. So I'm going to go ahead and put it where it snaps onto the circle. It says place the end point. So same thing when you come down here. As long as it snaps to the circle, you're good. And then it wants to put the center point. It's going to try to snap to things, and I don't want it to snap to anything that I don't want it to. So I'm just going to make sure I kind of leave it out here in the middle of nowhere. Once again, I'm going to use the tangent constraint. I want this line to be tangent to this circle. So it kind of bows it out, and it changes the radius. That's okay. I'm going to hit the escape key, get out of the tangent tool. I'm going to grab this line, and I'm going to kind of slide it back over here. I don't want it to kind of fall over to the other side of my circle. I want to make sure it's on this side. And then same thing, I'm going to hit the tangent constraint again, select this line and this circle, and now you can see it's locked in as tangent in both places. So all I need to do now is hit the sketch dimension. If that's not up here for you, just go ahead and click the create. Come down here for sketch dimension. We're going to hit the letter D. This will be another tool we use a lot. So I'm going to grab this, and I can see that it puts in an R, so this is already in radius mode. So we'll just put in 90.5. Going to click, and then type in 90.5 and hit enter. And now that's my 90.5 radius. We'll go ahead and start the mirror command again. Select that arc out there. Come over here for my mirror line. I want this y-axis to be my mirror line. It kind of puts it in over there. That's where I want it. You can see that once I put that arc in there and it closed off this geometry, any enclosed shape is going to turn that shade of light blue. That lets you know that it's a closed profile that you can work with. And that's what we want to do. Some folks will go ahead and use the trim tool to get rid of some of this extra geometry that they don't need, the other part of the circle. That's what it looks like in the sketch. But I'm going to go ahead and leave all of that extra geometry in there. I like to have it in there for reference in case I need it later. So even though it's going to kind of break up the profile, we're going to leave that in there. Go ahead and hit Finish Sketch. And it kind of brings us back to this sketch mode. I can go ahead and turn off my origin and minimize that box right there. I'm going to go back up here, hit the Home button, and go back to my original view. Once I've got that sketch, we're going to come over here and hit Save. And we're going to call this, so I'm up already at Caster Model. I'm going to hit Cancel. I'm at Caster Model B, and it's got the V1. It's going to do the versions by itself. Let me show the data panel. So it's Caster Model P version 1. When I hit Save, I'm going to tell it that I've done my first sketch and hit OK. And it's going to automatically update it to version 2. And if I click on my data panel, I can see this is when I created it, and then this save is when I turn to the sketch 1. So it's going to do all the version history on its own for you. You just need to make sure that you hit save frequently. Now that I've got my sketch done, I can go ahead and extrude this. This plate is still my active component. I'm going to start the extrude command. And we'll go ahead and take a look at our drawing. I've got this sketch, and I can see that the whole thing is 15 millimeters thick, and this little indented region is a little bit skinnier. It's 9 millimeters. And if I zoom in, you can see it's symmetric about that center line. So when I extrude this, instead of just extruding one direction, I'm going to do symmetric off of two sides. And we'll go ahead and start with the big pieces. And I had to select all these regions. I'm going to select this region inside of here as well. Those little purple lines, cut off that section, so I'll select it as well. So I've got 7 different profiles selected. And you can tell it says you either want the half length or the full length. On my drawing it said 15 millimeters was the whole distance. So I'll just click there and type in 15 millimeters. And you can see it kind of gives you a preview. It's going to extrude a little bit up out of the sketch and a little bit down out of the sketch so that the total distance is 15. I'll leave everything else that it is. And that's what we want. Whenever you extrude something, it's going to automatically hide your sketch. So we can come back here, expand this triangle, expand my sketch folder, and I can turn that sketch back on. We're going to start the extrude command one more time. Now let's go ahead and, we'll go ahead. We're going to select this area. This is the area that's going to be a little bit thinner. I want to make sure that we're doing symmetric as well. We're going to do the whole length. And that thickness is 9 millimeters. So we'll come back over here, type in 9 millimeters. It's going to join all of that into one piece, which is what we want. We'll hit OK. And since I turned my sketch on manually, I'm going to have to turn my sketch off manually as well. And that is the part that we're looking for. So I'm going to go ahead, save this. We're going to call this where we extruded the plate. That's the name of the part and the function we did. I'm also going to hit the letter A on my keyboard. It's going to bring up the appearance menu. And we'll come down here to paint. We'll choose glossy paint. I'm going to click this blue and just drag it on top of here. I'm just going to turn this entire component blue. And then we'll hit close. I'm going to go ahead and hit save. And I'm just going to say blue plate, because that's where I changed the color. So you can see that every time I save something, it's going to automatically index the version up to the next version. I can go back here and look and see. I show all versions. This is when it was created, my first sketch, my first extrude when I turned blue. So if I ever need to go back to any of these versions, I can either open that version individually, or I can go ahead and promote one of those to the top. Okay. We'll go ahead and close out of that. Whoops, I don't want to do that. Okay, so this is our plate model. We'll go ahead and minimize the sketch and minimize that folder. So this is our first component of the caster model, and this is the first part of the caster assignment. The next video will cover making all of the other parts. The third video will go through how to assemble those, and the last videos will talk about how to do the render and how to do the drawings. Thank you so much. Have a great day.